Every week, a patient asks me about apple cider vinegar. They've heard it melts fat, cures arthritis, detoxes the liver, even reverses diabetes. As a doctor, I want to tell you the truth, not what sells bottles, but what the actual research shows. Some of it will surprise you, some of it might change how you take it. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's real, what's myth, and how to use it safely if you decide to. Apple cider vinegar starts as crushed apples. Yeast ferments the natural sugars into alcohol, and then bacteria convert that alcohol into acetic acid, the compound that gives you vinegar, its sharp smell and sour taste. That acetic acid is the only ingredient researchers have actually studied in any meaningful way. Not ancient detox enzymes, not fat-dissolving compounds, not some mystical mother floating in the bottom of the bottle. Acetic acid. That's the active ingredient, and everything ACV does or doesn't do in your body traces back to this one simple molecule. Once you understand that, a lot of the marketing claims start to fall apart on their own. This is where the science is genuinely solid, and it's worth paying attention to. Multiple clinical studies have shown that taking vinegar alongside a meal, especially one high in carbohydrates painant, can modestly blunt the blood sugar spike that follows. Researchers believe this happens for two reasons. The acetic acid slows down how quickly your stomach empties its contents into the small intestine, and it interferes with the certain enzymes that break down starch into sugar. Slower digestion, slower sugar release into the bloodstream. For people with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes, this effect has actually been measured in controlled settings, not enormous, but real and reproducible. It's not a cure. It's not a replacement for prescribed medication, but it's one of the very few kitchen remedies that has genuine data behind it rather than just enthusiastic testimonials online. One important caution here: if you're already taking medication for diabetes or blood pressure, vinegar can amplify those effects. Adding a daily vinegar habit on top of your prescriptions could push your blood sugar or blood pressure lower than intended. Always loop in your doctor before making this a regular routine. Here's where people get misled the most, so listen closely. Apple cider vinegar does not burn fat. There is no mechanism, none, by which drinking vinegar melts fat off your belly, your thighs, or anywhere else. Fat is broken down through a complex hormonal and metabolic process. Vinegar doesn't touch that process directly. What some studies do show is a mild, short-term increase in feelings of fullness. People who drink diluted vinegar before a meal sometimes report eating a little less afterward, likely because of that slower stomach emptying we just talked about. That's an appetite effect, not a fat-burning effect, and the distinction matters enormously. The weight changes observed in small clinical trials have been modest at best, and we're talking a few pounds over several months, not dramatic transformations. And many of those studies were small, short, or funded by companies selling vinegar products, which should make you a little more skeptical of the headlines built around them. If anyone tells you a cup of this before bed will burn belly fat while you sleep, they're selling you a story, not practicing medicine. Let's clear up a few more myths quickly. ACV does not detox your liver. Your liver and kidneys already filter and process everything you eat and drink every single day without any help from vinegar. It does not cure arthritis, and there's no clinical evidence supporting that claim, despite how often you'll see it repeated. It does not reverse diabetes, and it does not alkalize your body. Your blood pH is tightly regulated by your lungs and kidneys within an extremely narrow range, regardless of what foods or drinks you consume. These are marketing claims dressed up to sound scientific, and I want you to be able to spot the difference the next time you see them. Undiluted vinegar is acidic enough to erode tooth enamel over time and irritate the lining of your esophagus and stomach. I've personally seen patients with chronic acid reflux make their symptoms noticeably worse after starting a daily ACV habit, simply because they were drinking it straight or too concentrated. If you do decide to try it, dilute it properly. 1 tablespoon in a full glass of water is a reasonable starting point, and consider sipping it through a straw to keep it away from your teeth. If you have ulcers, acid reflux, kidney disease, or you're taking medication for diabetes or blood pressure, talk to your doctor before adding this to your routine. What's harmless for one person can genuinely cause problems for another, especially as we get older and our digestive systems become more sensitive. Apple cider vinegar isn't magic, and it isn't useless either. It's a mildly helpful kitchen ingredient with one real, modest, well-documented effect on blood sugar, and a mountain of marketing built on top of that one modest fact. Use it wisely, dilute it properly, and don't expect it to replace real medical care or a healthy lifestyle. If this video helped clear things up, subscribe. I cut through the health noise every week here.